The story kicks off with a little pink-haired girl happily announcing she's back. She tells her teacher that the lady gave her a ton of butter as a reward for nailing her mission. The girl introduces herself as Chu, the leader of the carrot class at Bubbles Public Nursery. Turns out this nursery is a shelter for kids who lost their parents to pirates. Chu remembers shivering all alone outside on a snowy day. A kind woman asked her why she was out there by herself. The carrot class teacher found her and brought her in, and that's when her nursery life started. She explains she picked the carrot class just because she loves food so much. She was told that when she grows up, she could become a cleaning maid or a kitchen maid. Chu's dream was to be a kitchen maid so she could make tons of tasty bread and sweets. She realized that to reach her dream, she had to eat a lot and grow big, especially since she's the smallest in her class. While she was eating, someone told her that a person had come looking for her. She finds herself in a strange place, wondering who she is and who this mysterious guy in front of her is. The man is annoyed to find a kid in his house after being away fighting pirates for 6 months. His assistant tells him this little girl is the living being he has to raise. Basically, his daughter. Chu is blown away by how massive and incredibly handsome the guy is. The man compares her to a tiny sea slug, which totally ticks her off. She immediately takes back the part about him being handsome. When he asks for her name, she tries to say Chu, but he doesn't quite get it. The man decides to call her Tess because he thinks Chu doesn't sound like a real name. He spots a butter stain on her cheek and mockingly asks if they sent her to him as a snack. The assistant tries to calm things down after the girl starts crying, but she compares the guy to a shark. He asks her age, and when she mumbles her answer, he criticizes the way she talks. The man brags that his kids were riding dolphins at her age, making the assistant jump in to defend her. He wonders what to do with her, since she wasn't sent to be eaten and he didn't just pick her up somewhere. The assistant explains she was chosen by the legendary ancestral whale and he has to accept her. The assistant insists she's smarter than other kids and is already showing signs of awakening a special power. Chu worries if becoming his daughter means she won't be able to cook anymore. The assistant tells her that as a young lady, the maids will handle the cooking for her. Chu's dream of wearing a tall chef's hat is crushed. She raises her hand to speak up, realizing the guy doesn't want her as a daughter anyway. She announces she's great at baking cookies and will stick to cooking, so she won't be his daughter. The man is shocked. It's the first time in his life he's ever been rejected like that. The man's father, Galzard Basine, the head of the Basine family, arrives. The man tries to stop his father from talking, knowing exactly what's coming. The father explains the girl is special. She awakened her power at age 4 and was chosen by the ancestral whale. The father sarcastically tells his son to go argue with the ancestral whale himself if he doesn't like it. The father gets angry at his son's rudeness for raising a fist at him. The man wonders why he has to adopt her when he already has 2 sons, suggesting they send her to his sister. His father asks if he really doesn't get it, hinting that he noticed something too. The father tells him she looks remarkably like that other girl, but the man denies she could be his daughter, saying if she were alive, she'd be 9 by now. His father urges him to stop living a lost life and start living like a normal human with a daughter again. The father orders his son to stop arguing and just adopt the girl. Chu is enjoying a delicious meal at her new place. One of the maids gives her an extra apple pie, totally charmed by her cuteness. Chu is overjoyed and dreams of being a kitchen maid making such yummy treats. She realizes she can't eat it all by herself because that would be greedy. She starts counting the sweets, feeling like there isn't enough for her friends. She asks the maid for just 1 more piece. When the maid asks why, she explains she has 9 friends and already ate 1 piece. The maid notices. She's holding up 10 fingers and Chu realizes she's been busted. Chu shyly admits she wanted an extra piece for herself too. The maid is touched by her cuteness and promises to give her 100 pieces if she wants. Suddenly, the shark-like man shows up out of nowhere. The man approaches her, making her wonder if he's sending her back to the nursery. The man finally agrees to adopt her and call her by her real name, Chu. He announces she'll be his daughter starting today, leaving her totally confused. Chu wakes up in a super fancy soft bed. It feels like sleeping on cotton candy. She remembers how she always slept with her friends at the nursery. After she rejected his first offer, the man forced her to go with him. Her carrot class teacher came to comfort her. Chu complained to her teacher that she can't cook here and wants to go back. She tells her teacher her dream is still to be a chef. When the man hears about her wanting to cook, he makes her a new deal. He promises that if she becomes his daughter, he'll let her use the mansion's kitchen and learn to cook whenever she wants. Since she gets to cook, Chu decides to stay at the Basine mansion. Even though she agreed, she still feels lonely sleeping alone. Her teacher tells her she's a special child chosen by the ancestral whale. Chu remembers she knows all about the ancestral whale since they prayed to it before every meal. The teacher tells her that Lord Diagon is her father now, which is what she always wanted. Chu feels super awkward trying to say the word dad. The teacher explains her new dad is a Navy admiral and leader of the powerful Basine fleet. She's told she was adopted because she's a candidate to be an awakened, just like him. She can't believe the guy who called her a sea slug is her dad. She feels the word dad is as gross as broccoli or spinach. She wonders what awakened means, thinking it must be something cool since her teacher called her smart. She's worried about making mistakes because it would upset her teacher. She decides to act mature and do well since she's the brave and smart leader of the carrot class. The next day, Chu gets ready for her meal wearing her class president badge. She sits at a fancy dining table loaded with gourmet dishes. The man tells her that even though she's young, she'll start lessons because she's an awakened. She's told she'll study alongside the other Basine kids, which makes her happy to think about making new friends. It's explained that the training hall chooses 3 people: the next family head, the one who talks to the ancestral whale, and the Navy Admiral. She's told that kids chosen by the whale get treated exactly like blood-related Basine kids. When she asks if there's a class president system, the man hesitates before the assistant confirms there is. The assistant explains the Admiral's sons have never been class presidents before, as Lady Cecilia's kids always win. Chu wonders who Lady Cecilia is, thinking her name sounds pretty. The man tells her the vice president election is in 2 weeks. The man gives Chu a tempting offer. If she becomes vice president, he'll give extra support to her nursery. He promises to send talented kids to the academy and boxes of sweets to the nursery, which makes her super happy. He asks if she likes the deal that much, but she doesn't understand his words and asks the assistant what he meant. The assistant hints that she should try to get even more promises out of him. After thinking she had nothing left to ask for, she suddenly remembers something important. She asks the man to go somewhere with her, making him curious. She tells him she wants to go to the training hall. She explains she heard kids with dads get walked to school, and she felt a bit jealous. The man is touched by her request, realizing she wants him to act like a dad even though he's not her real father. When they arrive, the other kids notice her with the Admiral and are surprised by how tiny she is. She feels the vibe in the training hall is totally different from her nursery, way more serious. The man advises her to bite anyone who hits her, which shocks her. He tells her in a scary tone to fight with all she's got or she'll be eaten, absolutely terrifying her. The teacher announces that since a new student has arrived, they'll do a quick review on what an awakened is. She determines to do her best, like a true vice president hopeful. When the teacher asks why awakened people are important, she notices how exhausted he looks and wishes she could give him her carrot soup. A red-haired boy answers that awakened people are key for offense and defense in territorial wars. The teacher confirms he's right, adding that quality beats quantity, citing a past battle. The teacher explains awakened people are identified by a bijo, and everyone in class has one or the mark of one. She remembers her nursery teacher mentioning something appearing under her left shoulder, but she's never seen it. After the teacher writes bijo on the board, she wonders why he doesn't just explain what it means. When the teacher asks her name, she introduces herself and then boldly asks what a bijo is, making someone laugh. The red-haired boy mocks her for not knowing what a bijo is despite getting into the hall. The boy keeps teasing her, wondering if her level is just that low. She wonders to herself who this fat potato is, getting angry at his mockery. She defends herself, saying it's normal not to know everything and that others should teach those who don't. The boy keeps insulting her, calling her a rude commoner orphan. He calls her a potato, making the other kids laugh at her too. The teacher tells everyone to quiet down, then tasks her with finding out what bijo means before the next lesson. Then, the teacher explains roles are split between the family head and the young lord for admin, and the admiral for military, then asks about the resonator. The teacher asks Chu if she knows the answer, but she admits she's not sure. The same boy answers that a resonator relays the ancestral whale's words and can boost awakened powers and heal wounds. The teacher praises his correct answer, explaining that whoever has the highest resonance with the whale becomes the resonator. She feels frustrated because all this info is new to her. Everything she learned at the nursery was about cooking recipes. She holds back her tears, determined to endure so she can become vice president. When the lesson ends, she feels relieved that she did her best, despite not understanding much. She decides to ask the maid, Lena, about everything she doesn't know while eating the cookies Lena made. She's surprised when the red-haired boy and 2 of his buddies approach her. She wonders why they're mad, thinking they're upset the Admiral brought her here. One of the boys suddenly pushes her, making her cookies fall and scatter on the ground. She stands up bravely and demands an apology. She starts giving them a lecture on manners, saying friends shouldn't hit each other and should apologize and hug if it was an accident. They mock her and her words, but she decides to tolerate them one last time. The boy points at her class president badge, saying it's been annoying him from the start. The boy violently rips the badge off her, and she screams at him to give it back because it's precious. She feels helpless and desperate, wishing someone would help her. The boy dares her to get the badge back with her awakened powers, expressing how much he hates that she's Lord Diegon's kid. He screams in rage that he can't accept it, because that was the position he wanted for himself. He tosses the badge on the ground with contempt, calling her a filthy orphan and saying her position is worthless. She feels deep sadness. That badge was a precious gift from her nursery teacher. The boy suddenly feels a strange power radiating from around her. A massive energy explodes from her as she can no longer stand their insults. The boys realize this power is spirit energy and are totally shocked. They're stunned by the fact that a commoner girl is summoning a spirit. The spirit power attacks them, making them scream in pain and beg for mercy. They lose all their strength and collapse crying, while she compares their screams to Jerusalem artichokes. She hears a gentle voice telling her everything is okay, to calm down and sleep, while it handles the rest. She feels warmth and safety from that sweet voice and drifts off to sleep. Elsewhere, the assistant is told they couldn't stop the young lady's rampage in time. Luckily, the admiral was nearby and stepped in, saving everyone from a total massacre. The assistant is told the boy Ricardo's core is badly damaged and might never recover, meaning he'll be abandoned. While sleeping, she was crying over her lost badge, but she was doing fine thanks to the Spirit King's blessing. The Admiral thinks to himself that he only told her to hit them, not summon the Spirit King and almost kill them. He wonders who this kid really is to be loved so much by the Spirit King, guessing she might be an artificial being. The assistant denies this, saying spirits are pure beings and wouldn't follow something that breaks the laws of nature. The assistant points out Lady Cecilia will definitely try to get the girl, but the Admiral won't hand her over. The Admiral says she doesn't belong to someone as greedy as Cecilia, making the assistant realize he really wants to adopt her. The assistant notices she trusts and clings to him, confirming their bond. The Admiral decides he must give her a new name that suits her. He chooses the name Superti, which symbolizes the North Star and the goddess of battle. In her dream, she was calling for her mom, who reassured her she'd always be by her side. She begged her mom not to die, but the mom told her to be strong because she's the class president. She wakes up crying, saying she's not the class president anymore. She finds Lena the maid by her side, welcoming her as she wakes up. She tries to remember her sad dream, but the details feel like they've been erased. Lena tells her that her lessons are canceled and suggests they bake cookies together, and she happily agrees. At breakfast, she's happy to see so much delicious food again. Her grandfather, the family head, appears and comments that she looks healthy. She greets him, thinking to herself that he's just as scary as her uncle, the Admiral. The grandpa is surprised she's not exhausted after summoning the Spirit King, which she doesn't understand. She remembers fighting with her friends and worries she'll get scolded. The Admiral scolds his father for coming, but the father says he came to see his new granddaughter, which relieves her. Suddenly, a message from the Water Spirit King appears, screaming angrily that no one is allowed to scold his child. More messages follow, with the Water Spirit King proudly inviting others to see his child, while the Fire Spirit King sighs. Another message from the Earth Spirit King appears agreeing she's cute, adding to her confusion. She wonders if she's imagining these weird things because she's hungry. When the messages don't disappear, she gets more confused and wonders what they are. An invite from the Water Spirit King appears for an educational chat room in exchange for the Spirit King's blessings. The cute stickers on the accept button catch her eye, so she hits it because she loves cute things. As soon as she accepts, the chat room activates and the Spirit Kings start talking, leaving her even more puzzled. She sees the Admiral there and decides to ask him, hoping he has an explanation. She tries to tell her uncle about the chat room in front of her, but her voice comes out as a cheap sound. She panics because she can only chirp, and the Admiral thinks she's imitating chicks and tells her to stop. She wants to scream that she's not imitating chicks and wonders why her uncle and grandpa can't see the words. A message from the Water Spirit King says he forgot about the child mode system, then summons his head butler, Uberus. Uberus, the head butler, appears in response to his master's call to serve the little guest. Uberus introduces himself as the manager of Eden and head butler of the Spirit Kings, telling her he'll send her notifications from now on. She's impressed by the appearance of the cute little genie after the weird letters. She concludes that the Spirit Kings must be important people since they have a head butler. A new notification pops up about the Emotion Spirit King joining, who also wants to help raise her. She wonders in amazement why so many people want to raise her. She links her grandpa's talk about summoning the Spirit King to these beings appearing, but she feels frustrated she can't ask questions. She decides to eat first and think about complicated stuff later, and the Spirit Kings agree. The Water Spirit King suggests the idea of co-parenting, which the others welcome enthusiastically. Uberus tells her that once all the Spirit Kings enter, she'll get the title Beloved of the Kings. She counts the Spirit Kings she knows and wonders who the other two are. The maid serves her mashed potato salad and tells her to eat her veggies. She grumbles to herself about all the beans in her dish. She hates them. The Admiral orders her to eat everything for her health, and she answers reluctantly. She feels scared by his watchful eyes while she eats. She forces herself to eat a piece while he demands more. She grumbles about the taste of beans, thinking adults should eat them if they're so good, since she's already strong. A message from the Spirit King praises her and gives her a wonderful adaptation blessing. Uberus tells her the blessing will boost her courage and adaptation for 5 minutes, but might make her a bit reckless. She wonders if the butterflies appearing around her are that blessing. She wonders if only she can see this butterfly, while her grandpa urges the Admiral to have lunch with them. She doesn't feel much change in her courage. A new joint quest from the Spirit Kings appears. Make the Admiral eat the beans. She wonders if this quest is just a prank. She thinks about the reward, which is energy-boosting sugar, and thinks it might help her tired teacher. She resolves to finish the quest, making the Fire Spirit King happy and encouraging her. She rejects the idea of failure and punishment, determined to succeed in making her uncle eat the beans. She gets up and heads toward the Admiral, making him wonder if she's about to cry. She offers him her plate, saying delicious food should be shared. Her grandpa thinks she's trying to trick the Admiral into eating her food, but she insists he loves beans. Grandpa teases his son because he hasn't been called Dad yet, which irritates the Admiral. The Admiral tells her she can call him Dad, which confuses her. He explains the adoption papers will be finalized today. She remembers being chosen by the ancestral whale and starts thinking about calling him Dad. She backs off the idea. Her feeling toward the word dad was like her feeling toward broccoli. The Spirit King suggests she call him Admiral for now, so she decides on that. The Admiral tells her the Basine family has long accepted non-blood members as part of the family. He explains the ancestral whale's choice is always for the family's benefit and no one can oppose it. He tells her that Ricardo, the boy she hit, is also adopted from a lower noble family. She sits in the Admiral's warm lap, feeling it's the perfect spot to carry out her mission. He explains the family head position is for blood Basines, but the Resonator or Admiral can be adopted. Just as he was about to tell her she's a Resonator, she shoves a forkful of beans into his mouth. Grandpa bursts out laughing at the scene, impressed by her guts. The Emotion Spirit King brags that this is the result of his blessing, and then she politely asks him to eat the beans with her. The Spirit Kings praise her, thinking her act is cuter than blind obedience. She gives him more beans, happy he didn't get mad at the taste. She feels shy because she got a small scolding for putting a fork in his mouth while he was talking. She knows what she did was bold, maybe thanks to the courage the butterfly gave her. The Spirit Kings start asking her to do various cute moves. She wonders what's really going on, feeling like they're teasing and pampering her at the same time. She asks Uberus what the Beloved of the King's title means. Uberus gets flustered trying to explain, and the Fire Spirit King hits him on the head to snap him out of it. Uberus pretends to cry, and she feels sorry he's being bullied. He finally explains the title means the kings adore her and will love her like a niece for the rest of her life. She realizes this is a good thing and is happy to be loved. Uberus tells her the kings have given her a mission. The main quest notification appears. Obtain the Beloved of the King's title. The notification explains she has to charm all the Spirit Kings to enter the nursery room and get the title. She asks if adults will love her too if she becomes the Beloved of the Kings, and Uberus confirms it. He explains this attention from all Spirit Kings has only happened once at the dawn of time, and she'll be the first in current history. She simply concludes that if she becomes the second, the Admiral and Grandpa will be happy. She wonders how to summon the Spirit Kings not yet present and thinks about suggesting a butt dance. Lena the maid interrupts her thoughts, suggesting they play with dough. She agrees excitedly, and Lena starts rolling out dough for her. She tells Lena proudly she's good at this since she did it a lot at the nursery. She feels calm and relaxed touching the soft dough, confirming that making sweets is what she loves most. Uberus appears to give her the reward for finishing her previous quest, magic sugar that removes fatigue. She realizes this is the reward for feeding the Admiral beans. She decides to make energy cookies with this sugar for her teacher, but accidentally pours all the sugar into the dough. She thinks it's fine to use it all, and Lena brings her cute cookie cutters. She thinks the more sugar the better and decides to make bear-shaped cookies. After baking, the cookies look super tasty. When the head chef asks what to do with them, she asks him to wrap them up. She thanks him with pure joy when he agrees. The head chef is touched by her extreme cuteness, feeling like she's a piece of marshmallow. He feels like he could die in peace now, but his assistant warns him he has to live to see more of this cuteness. The chefs say a warm goodbye, promising her sweets next time, and she promises to return. She feels happy everyone is nice to her, and Lena tells her it's because she's so sweet. She decides to give the cookies to her teacher before tomorrow's lesson. When she asks for her teacher's name, Lena tells her it's Assistant Cedric. Lena explains his full name is Cedric Hungerford, and he's famous for having the best work processing skills among the assistants. It's said all info flowing to Basine passes through Cedric's hands, and he works overtime every day. Originally, there was another teacher, but he quit because he couldn't handle the noble kids, so Cedric took over. She concludes that's why he's always tired and grumpy, and she's sure he'll be in her grandpa's office tomorrow morning. She excitedly decides to go to her grandpa's room early in the morning to give him the cookies quickly. The next morning, Cedric is feeling totally drained and just wants to go home. Cedric wishes he could sleep for 18 hours, expressing his extreme exhaustion. He's surprised to see little Chu, who greets him and asks if he slept well. Earlier, Cedric told the family head that the spies planted by Balarian in Basine had all been executed. The family head ordered the young Lord Ricard to return after his successful mission. The family head asked about Diegon's second son. He was told the boy's illness is progressing fast and he's bedridden most of the time. The family head showed no interest in his grandson's fate, thinking his time is up if no cure is found. Cedric was disgusted by the family head's cruelty, abandoning his grandson just because he became useless. Cedric remembers Lord Elgin's illness can be cured if he finds a partner with the same Bijo to share life force. The family head hoped luck would be on his grandson's side, then asked about Chu's second lesson. The family head ordered Cedric to teach her about spirit kings and help her make a contract with one. The family head insisted he'd make it happen because she'd be very valuable to the family, even if she doesn't become a resonator. Cedric grumbles to himself about the extra workload, but reluctantly agrees. The family head scolds him for grumbling, reminding him of his duties. Cedric thinks bitterly about his lack of sleep and constant fatigue because no one respects him. The family head tries to calm him, saying it's proof of Basine's trust in him, but Cedric asks about his resignation request. The family head dodges the question, and Cedric sighs in despair, assuming his request was ignored again. Cedric wishes he could sleep, expressing how exhausted he is. He sees little Chu in front of him, and she innocently asks if her grandpa is inside. After she thanks him, he tells her he's inside. She gives him a bag of cookies, saying they'll give him energy. He thanks her, touched by her sweet gesture. She tells her grandpa she brought him cookies too, which impresses him. Cedric notices she shows no hesitation or fear toward the family head, unlike his daughter Cecilia. Cedric reads her file, which says she's an orphan from a public nursery and her physical growth is slow. The file reveals her origin and awakening time are unknown, with a small chance she's Diegon's biological daughter. The file rules out that chance because the age doesn't match, and notes the Water Spirit King protects her. The family head decides to try the cookies, while Cedric reluctantly agrees. Cedric thinks he should eat the cookies so the girl doesn't get upset and stop visiting him. Cedric finds the taste average and doubts she made them herself. Suddenly, he feels his fatigue totally vanish and wonders if he's imagining it. He asks her in amazement how she made these cookies. She notices his eyes have become shiny and credits the whale sugar. She explains she made them because he looked tired, which impresses her grandpa. The family head feels proud of her, which makes her very happy. The Water Spirit King expresses his pride, calling her the sweetest child. She's glad the teacher feels energized, while he feels the cookies are too precious to eat. In class, she's surprised when the teacher points her to the empty front seat. She's surprised by his sudden kindness, since he treated her coldly before. He lends her a fan powered by a spirit stone, saying she might feel hot. She feels like she's heard of this fan before, even though it's her first time seeing it. He explains the big ball is a spirit stone containing an air spirit. He explains these convenience products are called magic stone engineering, and she thanks him for the explanation. The students whisper, shocked by Cedric's kind treatment of her. She wonders why the vibe in class changed and feels the discrimination against her is obvious. She feels sad and lonely, wishing to go back to the carrot class. The situation reminds her of her torn name badge, and she tries not to think about it so she won't cry. The Spirit Kings encourage her, saying those who ignore her aren't worth her time. She notices Potato Face and his friends aren't there, and wonders if the Spirit King scolding them did it. The teacher announces today's lesson is about the 8 Spirit Kings. While the students grumble, she's excited because this is exactly what she wanted to know. The teacher threatens to tell the family head if they don't attend his lessons, which scares them. The students' fear of her terrifies her, and she feels the teacher is very scary. The teacher starts by explaining there are 8 main spirits in the world. He explains the first 4, water, fire, earth, and air, are called elemental spirits. He mentions the other 4, fate, emotion, luck, and chaos, are called origin spirits, and she realizes they're the ones in the chat room. Uberus tells her the water, fire, earth, and emotion spirit kings have already entered. She wonders who the other 2 kings watching without revealing themselves are. The teacher explains the primal spirit kings are chaos and fate, and from their union, emotion was born, then the rest. He explains that to form a contract with the spirit king, one must discover their true name hidden in a certain place. She wonders if the blurred letters in their messages are their real names. When she asks them to tell her, the Water Spirit King apologizes, saying she has to find the hints herself. The Spirit King suggests she look in books, and she remembers she knows how to read. She wonders where she can find a book here and decides to ask after class. After the lesson, she asks the teacher where to find books. She's surprised there's a separate library and decides to ask Lena where it is later. She suddenly realizes she totally forgot her homework of finding out what Bijo means. When When she tries to leave quickly, the maid stops her, and she's terrified she's been caught. She's surprised when the teacher asks if she can make more cookies. He begs her to make more, calling it saving a dying man's life. She tells him sadly she used up all the energy sugar. Meanwhile, Assistant Cayman is mocking Admiral Diegon in his office. Cayman pretends to be sad the Admiral didn't get any cookies. He tells him the young lady gave out cookies before class and seemingly excluded him. The Admiral wonders why there wasn't a piece for him, while Cayman enjoys his share. Cayman keeps teasing him, hinting Chu hasn't called him dad yet because he scared her at their first meeting. The Admiral remembers he hasn't trained in a while, indirectly threatening Cayman. Cayman is terrified by the Admiral's threat, who cut the training time from 5 to 3 minutes. Cayman screams for help, while the Admiral enjoys his small victory. The Admiral thinks about his childish behavior and wonders what he's doing. In her room, Chu feels super tired after a busy day. She's happy the cookies worked, even though it was hard to dodge the teacher. She realizes she's out of energy and hungry. It's dinner time. When she calls for Lena, she's surprised to see the Admiral instead. The Admiral reproaches her for not seeing him in the morning, reminding her of her request on the first day. She tells him happily the teacher took her by the hand today. He asks if she listened well in class, and she excitedly says she learned about Spirit Kings. She wonders if he came to give her a snack, but rules it out. The Admiral asks if there's a cookie for him. After hearing she gave Cayman one, she tells him she has one piece left for herself and takes it out of her pocket. She thought about eating the last cookie herself since she was hungry. She feels scared by the Admiral's sharp gaze and wonders if he wants a piece too. She tells him he hates sweets because he always gives her his share of dessert. He explains he doesn't hate sweets, he just gave them to her because he thought she liked them a lot. He offers a trade. He'll give her a new name in exchange for the cookie. She's surprised by the offer, while the Spirit Kings urge her to accept, fearing the Admiral might cry. She imagines the Admiral's tears could flood the entire palace. She gives him the cookie, apologizing for how it looks since she saved it for herself. She explains she doesn't mind eating anything, while those who eat little should choose the prettiest one. She thinks about her current situation, fake daughter, fake dad, but finds comfort in Lena and the chefs. She feels grateful for Mr. Hands, Mr. Cayman, and the yummy food, making her not hate the place. Despite not knowing how long she'll stay, she wished for a new name. The Admiral decides to pay her back since he accepted the cookie. He officially names her Superti Basine. She feels overjoyed, like sugar is melting in her mouth and candy is flying from her chest. She expresses her happiness and love for her new name. She happily concludes that since she's Superti Basine, she'll stay the Admiral's daughter. He asks her to call him Dad and tries to teach her how to say it. She feels awkward. Even though she got a name and became his daughter, she couldn't call him Dad. He tells her not to rush and that he'll give her time, making her happy because she won't be leaving soon. She heard a voice inside her whispering she'd leave for somewhere else one day. When he asks if she likes her name, he explains it's the North Star and Goddess of Battle. She sees a mysterious vision of a woman telling her they came from a distant star and will return to it one day. When he asks what's wrong, she hides it from him, wondering if she's imagining it. He suddenly tells her he hasn't introduced her to her 2 older brothers yet. She learned her eldest brother is named Ricard, but he told her there's no need to know the second one's name. He explained she won't meet him, so there's no need to remember his name, which puzzles her. She noticed the Admiral looked sad despite his harsh tone. The Water Spirit King asked her to give him a warm hug, so she decided to do it. She hugged him suddenly, surprising him, while the Spirit King encouraged her. She remembers how she used to hug her friends at the nursery and wonders if the Admiral likes kisses too. A new mission from the Spirit King appears to help him not cry, with a penalty of losing her sense of taste for sweets. She panics at the thought of losing her taste, especially since she was having chocolate pudding for dinner. She kisses his cheek suddenly while saying, "Admiral." She whispers for him not to cry, that it's okay to cry, and she's ready to give up her sense of taste for him. She tells him she'll hide him if he wants to cry, and it's okay to cry in front of her. He promises her he won't cry, which makes her happy. He's touched by her attempt to comfort him, even though she's just a kid, and she corrects him that she's superty. She's happy he asked for dessert and he promised to tell Hans. She notices he's frowning again and concludes adults cry in weird ways. She feels happy he became her dad and gave her a beautiful name, making her want to stay. She enjoyed a delicious meal, including the chocolate pudding he ordered specifically for her. She thought about asking him what Bijo meant since she hadn't asked Lena yet. She boldly asked him what the word meant. He explained the Bijo is the crystallization of pure power. He explained that when someone awakens, a spot appears on their body where a gem later grows, giving them special powers. He told her Bijo would grow on her left shoulder blade, as long as the spot isn't damaged. He warned her not to show the spot to anyone, because there are people who target awakened ones before their gems grow. She asked if she could show it to Lena, but he specified the list of people she could trust. She realized it's something to be strictly protected and felt curious about the power she'd get. When she asked when her Bijo would appear, He told her it usually shows up at age 10. She asked when his Bijo appeared, and he said he was 7. She wished her Bijo would show at 7 too, and asked how many nights were left until she turned 7. She asked about his power, and he said he summons the divine beast, the sea dragon. She was impressed by his power, thinking it was so cool. He bragged he's the only one among his ancestors who can summon and control the sea dragon. She wished for a big, cool power like his so she could protect her name badge. When she asked if the Spirit King's love was a superpower, he explained it's a natural talent. He confirmed that getting a blessing from a Spirit King is a very special and rare thing. He explained summoning a Spirit King is completely separate from supernatural powers. She shyly concluded she's very loved because the Spirit Kings are watching her. She felt overjoyed when the Water Spirit King looked at her warmly, and she thanked him. He told her he'd repay the cookie favor with something else. He gave her a crab-shaped badge that said, "My daughter." He explained this badge is so she can trust and rely on him. He asked her to come to him first if she ever needed someone to lean on. She started crying from the touch, which confused him. She told him it's prettier and better than the class president badge, and it's her first treasure from now on. She thought about her torn badge and realized she's no longer class president, but she has this new badge now. She resolved to protect this badge no matter what, so she can stay his daughter for a long time. Lena guided her to the library's location. Lena reassured her she'd be fine on her own and promised to return soon. She remembered Lena's instructions and headed toward the big door. She found the door and opened it carefully. She was stunned by the size of the library and the massive amount of books in it. She wondered how to find a book about spirits here and thought about making a contract with them. Voices appeared in her imagination, encouraging her to make a contract with the Spirit King. Her grandpa promised her a special gift and tea with him if she succeeded. The Admiral encouraged her to try without overworking herself. The kitchen maids asked her to send a fire spirit to fix the oven. She imagined everyone asking her for help with different spirits. She felt responsible, since it seemed everyone wanted her to contract with the Spirit King. She decided she wanted to fulfill their wishes since she has a good life here, so she must find the book first. She discovered a new area in the library she hadn't seen before. She felt like she was in a different world, and wondered why no one was in this huge place. She felt a cold breeze and wondered if a window was open. She spotted a boy she hadn't seen before. She wondered who this strange boy was. She was impressed by his beauty, thinking he was a boy. She noticed his hair was pink, just like hers. Superti greeted a boy she woke up from a nap in the library. The boy woke up wondering what this weird thing in front of him was, in a voice that scared Superti. The little girl asked for his help finding a book, explaining she's way too short to reach the shelves. The boy realized she was the new little sister he'd heard about lately. He told her he heard about what she did to the arrogant Ricardo and that he actually liked it, she figured. Out he was the brother the Admiral didn't mention. Then he asked if she could read, noting that awakened kids learn fast. The boy asked what kind of book she was looking for, and she said she was curious about spirits. He offered to help her find a book specifically about the Spirit Kings. Superti noticed he kept coughing and worriedly asked if he was sick. He guided her to the spirit books and brought them to her. He brought a bunch of specialized spirit books and asked if they were enough. She asked for another book about Bigo, so he concluded she had a lot of questions. He left the books for her to read, but her curiosity shifted to the book he was holding. The title of the book he was reading was super weird. It was about reflections on death and experiencing it for a moment. She wondered why he'd read something like that and straight up asked him if he was dying. He admitted he'd die soon, and she begged him in tears not to die. She told him she liked him and it made her sad she wouldn't see him again. She told him his coughing reminded her of the girls at the daycare who suddenly disappeared. He introduced himself as Elgin, and she proudly introduced herself by her new official name, Super T. She proudly explained she wasn't Chu anymore, but Super T. Elgin praised her cool name, and she confirmed the Admiral was the one who gave it to her. He said he was happy she was there, explaining he was worried about his dad, but now he could leave in peace. Superti realized Elgin must be the second brother the Admiral intentionally hid from her. She wished he wouldn't give up on life, but it was clear he'd already made up his mind. She panicked when he coughed up blood, but he tried to calm her down, saying it was normal. She told him seeing blood hurts and offered to wipe his hand. He told her there's no need to be kind to him since there's no point for a dying person. She explained she wasn't doing it for a reward, and that looking at him gave her a familiar, sad feeling. She wished she had Orca sugar to help him and regretted using it all before. When she said she wanted to cure him, he explained his illness was terminal unless a partner with the same Bigo shared their life force. He declared his total rejection of the idea, not wanting to live a miserable life at the expense of someone else's. The Emotion Spirit King was deeply moved, declaring this was pure love and that this wonderful boy must live. The Emotion Spirit King kept expressing his sadness until he was restricted for flooding the chat with messages. She wondered about the Alliance Quest reward, and remembered it was the source of the Orca sugar she got. The Spirit Kings explained that moving items from their world, Eden, to the human world is forbidden without a good reason. One king suggested an alternative, giving her quests and granting stamps upon success to trade for items from Eden. Superti understood that if she did what they asked, she could get more orca sugar. They told her she had to collect 3 stamps, and she excitedly accepted the challenge. Elgin asked who she was talking to, so she quickly changed the subject to avoid her previous mistake. He told her smile was beautiful and reminded him of a little brother who would have looked just like her if he were there. He revealed his mother and brother were swallowed by the sea, and he believes they'll meet again after he dies. She was curious to know more about them, but felt the vibe wasn't right to ask. The Spirit King offered a new quest: become vice president of the class, with a big reward and a scary penalty. She remembered Lena telling her everyone competes for vice president because they're the actual leader of the class. She wondered if there was another task, so the Spirit Kings pointed out a joint mission. A new quest appeared: find the Admiral's family photo and uncover their secret history, with a gross penalty for failure. She apologized to the Earth Spirit King after he grumbled about her reaction to the beans he carefully grew. The Water Spirit King told her she needed 2 stamps first. Then he'd reveal the condition for the 3rd, and she agreed. She announced she was leaving because she had things to do, and Elgin offered to help with her heavy books. She reassured him she's strong, having eaten 5 slices of apple pie this morning. Elgin was impressed by her strength, and Superti decided she'd find a way for him to stay alive. She said goodbye happily and went on her way. She started summarizing her tasks. First, the family photo. Second, finding out about Elgin's mom and brother. Third, becoming VP. She added 2 more: baking bread with orca sugar for Cedric and Elgin. And 5th, guessing the 2 unknown Spirit Kings. The 6th task was knowing the Spirit Kings' names. Despite all the work, she decided to do it to prove she's the Admiral's daughter. She added her 7th and final wish: for her, the Admiral, Elgin, and Macard to all be together. She wished they could all take a family photo together one day. She made up her mind to work hard to achieve her dream of having a real family. She decided to start reading the book she was most curious about, the one about Bigo. The book confirmed what the Admiral said. Bigo is a jewel where pure power manifests. The book revealed this jewel appears the same way on the body of an awakened's partner, but in a different spot. This is known as the Bigo phenomenon, where an awakened feels an irresistible pull toward their partner once they meet. She realized this was the partner with the same Bigo that Elgin was talking about. The Water Spirit King explained a partner is a very special, unique companion in the whole world. After understanding the meaning, she eagerly flipped the page to learn more. The book explained awakened can hide their Bigo, but some show it on purpose to assert authority. The book revealed Bigo also appears when losing control, and there's only one reason an awakened loses control of their feelings. Suddenly, child protection mode activated and erased the text from the book right before her eyes. She was super curious about the situation where someone loses control and asked the Spirit Kings to tell her. She was annoyed by their silence and decided she'd just have to ask the Admiral later. The book continued describing the enchanting beauty of Bigo, noting that jewel shapes vary. It mentioned famous shapes and noted some families share a general Bigo style. She was amazed to realize there isn't just one shape, but many different ones for every awakened. She wondered curiously what the Admiral's and Elgin's Bigo shapes looked like. She got excited about her own Bigo, knowing her partner would carry the same shape. She wondered deeply about who her future partner might be. The Water Spirit King told her she'd recognize her partner when she grows up, so she asked how many nights she had to sleep for that. He told her it could take 100 nights repeated 100 times, a number way beyond her math skills. She screamed in despair that the number was too big and too hard. She asked if it was possible never to meet her partner, and the Water Spirit King confirmed that happens sometimes. That possibility made her sad since she really wanted to meet them and see what kind of person they are. The Fate Spirit King explained he's the one who decides partners after coordinating with the manager of causality and God. She caught a hint about his identity from his talk and determined to study hard to reach her goals. The book revealed great noble families sometimes don't treat kids as family if their Bigo doesn't show up. This led to the culture of adopting awakened, and she realized that's why she was brought here. Research showed the first child of 2 awakened has a 99% chance of awakening, decreasing with each child. She thought about the Admiral having 3 kids, Macard the first, Elgin the second, and a third she hadn't heard of. She realized no one, Lena, the Admiral, or even Elgin, had ever mentioned the 3rd child's name. She felt super curious to know who her big sister was now that they were family. The next morning, Lena brought her some dough to play with and asked if she needed anything else. Superti asked Lena where the family photo was, saying she wanted to see her big sister in it. Lena was shocked and dropped the dough, wondering how she found out about that. Superti said she met Elgin in the library, and he was the one who told her about the photo. Lena apologized, saying this wasn't a topic to talk about lightly, but she could tell her where it was. When Superti insisted on going, Lena explained the place wasn't totally forbidden, but the Admiral doesn't like anyone going there. Superti begged, justifying it with her curiosity about her sister and her school duty. Lena revealed her sister's name is considered a taboo that shouldn't be spoken. Lena agreed to show her where the photo was, as long as she took a quick look and came right back. She felt bad for insisting, but realized she'd already noticed some mysterious things. She connected the dots, concluding her brother's mom and her sister had gone to a far star, which was why the Admiral was sad. She remembered her teacher's words about hidden heart wounds and realized the Admiral's heart hurt from his partner's absence. She determined to comfort the Admiral's heart and be the one to open his locked door. She reached an empty room next to the Admiral's bedroom where Lena said the photo was, and wondered why it was hidden. When she entered, the smell of fragrant flowers filled the room. She noticed the supposedly empty room was clean and tidy, as if someone still lived there. The Spirit Kings pointed for her to look at the table in the room. She was surprised to see a huge pile of gifts stacked on the table. She wondered in confusion why none of these gifts had been opened. She found a small card on one of the gifts and decided to read it. The card was a message from Egon to Arrow on their 13th wedding anniversary. She realized Egon was the Admiral's name. She concluded the Admiral sent all these gifts to his late partner. The Spirit King sadly noted the Admiral kept preparing gifts, even though no one was there to receive them, making her understand partnership. One Spirit King whispered for her to look for another door in the room. She caught sight of a door hidden behind a curtain she hadn't noticed before. Approaching the new door, she smelled a different but familiar flower scent. Her heart raced as if something was pulling her strongly toward the door. The door opened on its own, so she entered cautiously, asking for permission. The new room was dusty and neglected, so she thought it might be a storage room. She saw something huge covered with a cloth and wondered if she could take a look. The Water Spirit King gently encouraged her to remove the cloth cover. She felt the same feeling as at the door, as if someone was guiding her to reveal the hidden. She removed the cover to discover the family photo she was looking for. She noticed the Admiral in the photo looked much younger, with a tiny Elgin beside him. She knew the older boy who looked like Elgin now was her brother Macard. She looked at the lady holding a baby girl and realized this was her unnamed sister. She noticed the baby girl's hair was light pink, exactly like her own. She concluded the lady was the Admiral's wife, Lady Arrow, who matched her in hair and eye color. She felt a strong resemblance to Lady Arrow and felt like she'd seen her somewhere before. She started hearing a strange, annoying sound echoing through the room. She covered her ears, shivering, feeling like she never wanted to hear that sound. She didn't want to hear it and saw the lady's image in the painting changing before her eyes. She watched in shock as the lady's hair and eyes turned black, feeling this new face was familiar. She realized the woman in the modified photo was the same person she often saw in her dreams. She wondered why she felt suffocated and had trouble breathing while looking at the photo. She collapsed on the floor, feeling sharp head pain and shortness of breath. She started seeing strange scenes of people in white rushing somewhere. In her vision, she saw a very sick person lying on a bed. She heard that terrible sound again and screamed, refusing to listen. She saw the Admiral shouting, "My little crab," and was terrified, begging not to see more. She saw visions of a dying lady and a little girl begging them not to take her away. She screamed in tears, begging her mother not to leave her. The Admiral suddenly found her and hugged her, trying to wake her up. He wondered who she really was after finding her fainted in front of the family photo. In her sleep, she heard a voice asking her to remember a certain song. The voice sang to her about a path leading to a pond where a hidden box sits as a gift for sadness. As she slept, she wondered about the meaning of the mysterious words she heard. The voice told her their true form isn't black hair and eyes, but she decided to erase that memory. She whispered "Mom" while sleeping in the Admiral's arms. The Admiral thought about her looking for her mom, annoyed that she fainted for the second time. He remembered how she was forced on him as an adopted daughter he didn't want, and how his attempts to send her away failed. He knew sending her to his greedy sister Cecilia would be cruel, while his other brother was busy raising twins. Even though the bond was forced, he decided to try raising her somehow. Seeing her was painful because she reminded him of his lost daughter, so he kept his distance. He admitted this kid needed a lot of care since she eats so much. Plus, she had the weird blessing power of the Spirit Kings. Earlier, Lena told him she entered the Narcissus room, but he initially thought it was just childish curiosity. He felt something strange, as if someone was calling him, and when he checked on her, he found her having a fit. He thought raising his two sons was already hard, but this was worse in a different way, especially near water. He wondered how many secrets her tiny body held. He believed it was a father's duty to let his child express their pain. When she woke up, he asked worriedly if she was okay. He finally felt her clenched fist relax, realizing she'd stabilized. He remembered the doctor confirmed after both cases that the cause was psychological, not physical. He was frustrated because he couldn't find the reason since she's an orphan, but he felt he learned something this time. He realized this child missed her real mother while she whispered that she remembered something. She told him half asleep that she had to go to the pond. The Admiral noticed she still looked asleep even though she was talking. He concluded she was sleepwalking. He tried to stop her, asking exactly where she was trying to go. He followed her as she walked and realized she was heading toward his private garden. He was surprised she knew the palace layout since she'd only visited limited places. He'd never heard of her entering the garden before and wondered how long it had been since he went in himself. The Basine family has private gardens for every important member. Entering these gardens was strictly forbidden without permission, and he'd spent the first year after losing his partner in his. The pain of living without her was so unbearable that he couldn't sleep in his bed. His feet always led him to the garden to calm the suffocating feeling that took over. She changed his view on things. Because of her, he started seeing the flowers she tended as cute. The willow tree where they used to shade was the only place he could drift off. He felt the world before her was meaningless, and his life with her was the only truth. That's why he banned entry to the garden the following year, fearing his memories of her would fade. The Admiral recalled his sons agreeing with his choice, and since then they all stopped going to the garden. He explained their visits were limited to her room to place flowers and gifts as a way to ease their deep grief. In the present, he wondered in confusion how this child found something in the garden he totally missed. He realized bitterly that 6 years had passed since he last set foot in this place. He warned Supertai not to get near the pond, explaining it was a dangerous area. He noticed she didn't hear his warning, while the smell of narcissus brought back an old memory. He found her at the edge of the pond, insisting she found something there. He tried to talk her out of it, emphasizing the danger, but she pointed confidently that what she was looking for was right there. She whispered the word box, raising his doubts about how aware she was of what she was saying. He picked her up, trying to move her away, but she stuck to her point, insisting she heard a song that guided her. She repeated the lyrics she heard about a glowing path leading to a box hidden at the bottom of a flowery pond. He didn't get her mysterious words, but noticed her persistence, totally ruling out that something was hidden in the pond. He remembered his wife playfully telling him she hid their anniversary gift in the flower basin. He recalled their joking talk about how hard it was to find the gift and her offering to help search. She always gave him hints through song lyrics. She enjoyed the treasure hunt game every anniversary. He admitted to himself that finding the treasure was always easy, but he'd pretend to search for a long time to see her happy. He enjoyed seeing her excitement, thinking he wouldn't find his gift, and wondered how Supertai could know something existed. He tried to think rationally, but couldn't suppress the spark of hope creeping into his heart. He thought the whole thing was meaningless since she knew nothing of her origins, then thought that might be the key. He asked her very eagerly who sang that song to her. He blamed himself for trying so hard to find proof she was his real daughter, and decided not to let his hopes hurt her. He reminded himself the age gap made it impossible. His daughter, if alive, would be 9 now. Superti resisted stubbornly, insisting on taking out what was in the pond and presenting it. He finally gave in to her persistence and agreed to go into the pond, asking her to stay put. He stepped into the cold pond water, wondering why he was doing this weird thing in the middle of the night. He totally ruled out that his wife had left anything at the bottom of the pond. Initially, he found nothing but stones and algae and thought about faking a search and heading back. Suddenly, his hand touched an ornate box and he pulled it out of the water in total shock. He got out of the pond and straight up asked her how she knew this box was here. Superti was thrilled, declaring it a gift to face sadness. She innocently asked if his sadness would go away now that he had this gift. When he opened the box, he saw his wife's name, Aurora Basine, engraved on the lid. He hugged her tightly, asking who she really was and how she appeared in his life so suddenly. She asked if he was crying, but he immediately denied it. She touched his wet cheek, so he claimed it was just pond water. He justified being wet by saying he went in because she asked, and told her to pretend she knew nothing. She told him it was okay to cry and she'd provide cover if he wanted. He was moved by her words and thanked her, then called her by her name, Superti. Elsewhere, Assistant Kamen woke up startled by the news of the Admiral swimming under the moonlight. Kamen was anxiously blaming the Admiral for going to the back garden, fearing he planned to quit his post. The Admiral told him to shut up, so Kamen reluctantly complied, expressing his shock at the whole situation. He headed to his bedroom while Kamen greeted Superti's doll. The Admiral stood before the room door holding the box, admitting he didn't have the guts to open it. He was deeply moved seeing the last thing Aurora left and let his tears flow for a moment. He ordered a secret investigation into Superti's biological mother, stressing the sensitivity of the matter. Kamen told him her origins are still unknown, but her record is clean, while holding a bunny doll to play with her. The Admiral explained his doubts weren't about her background, but about something else regarding her. Kamen wondered if the water spirit told her, explaining things since she isn't the Admiral and Aurora's daughter. The Admiral found this explanation more convincing, especially since she can't explain clearly and just says, a song was sung. Kamen asked when he'd opened the box, and the Admiral said it's better to open it in front of the one who found it, and decided to head back to the study. Kamen remembered Lady Aurora fondly, admitting he misses her even though he can't remember her features well. The Admiral agreed, adding her appetite was extraordinary. So Kamen noted she was proud of being a big eater and prepared huge Navy feasts. Kamen insisted no one hated Lady Aurora. Even the sharp Lady Cecilia used to stick by her. The Admiral lamented that he can't even remember her facial expressions anymore. He felt the longing for her rising and drowning him like a deep ocean, a darkness he might never escape. In the study, the Admiral and Kamin watched Superti sleeping deeply. The Admiral commented that something delicious like this makes her sleep. While she was mumbling in her sleep, she suddenly woke up screaming, "Fried shrimp," grumbling that she was about to eat it. So the Admiral said he'd get her some snacks. The Admiral told her he wanted to open the box, reminding her she was the one who found it. She agreed to open it with him, and he explained that precious boxes are usually sealed with magic locks. He explained the lock only responds to the owner's touch, which impressed her deeply. He promised he'd gift her whatever was inside as a reward for her achievement. As soon as she touched the box, it opened immediately. Inside, they found baby clothes, a letter, and a music box. Super T noted they had one like it at the orphanage. The Admiral gave her the music box. When she heard the tune, she felt she'd heard it before and asked if it was a lullaby. He confirmed it was a lullaby his wife Aurora sang to the kids and that her voice was recorded inside. Kamin brought the fried shrimp she wished for. Superti enjoyed her meal while the Admiral gently wiped the crumbs off her face. She noticed he was watching her without scolding her for the mess she made. She smiled and told him she liked the kind Admiral. After she was full, she suddenly realized she didn't remember how she ended up in the Admiral's room. She wondered how she found the box, but was happy with the praise she got. She felt the vibe was right to ask something she was curious about. She asked about a matter concerning her, and he agreed to answer, admitting he felt extra generous that day. She told him she read in a book that Bigo should only be touched by a special partner. She asked him why, and noticed the Spirit Kings went silent again. She concluded the Admiral was the only one who could answer, while Eupyrus announced the question-bombing phase of parenting had begun. She asked why the partner is allowed to touch Bigo while others aren't, and if he let his partner touch his. The Admiral hesitated, while Eupyrus watched anxiously to see how the dad would get out of this fix. The Admiral dodged the question, saying she'd understand when she met her partner. He explained Bigo is precious, so it's only shown to the most precious person who is allowed to touch it. She asked why family doesn't count. The Admiral realized she was trying to make things hard for him, so he started tickling her. She laughed, saying she wanted to meet her partner soon too. He told her it was still way too early to meet her partner. When she insisted on knowing more, he told her all she had to do now was eat and grow well, then asked Kamin to bring sweets. She asked for strawberry macarons, thinking the Admiral and Spirit Kings refused to tell the truth, even though she feels old enough. The Water Spirit King told her there are things she'll learn gradually, so she concluded she'll meet her partner one day, which got her excited. Elsewhere, a blonde boy appeared in a fancy palace. The boy was talking to himself, expressing his wish to see someone even though causality might not allow it. He caught a glowing butterfly and promised to come see his companion, Superti, soon. Superti was enjoying her food while the maid wondered at her ability to eat with such appetite. She remembered her duty wasn't just finding the photo, but also uncovering the family's secret history. She thanked Eupyrus for clarifying secret family history, meant the sad stories linked to the family. She gathered her courage to ask the Admiral, despite her fear of seeing him sad again. She asked about her big sister and her name, realizing she might not get another chance to ask. The Admiral calmly answered her sister's name is Laurel, which surprised her by how easily he answered. He explained he expected her curiosity after seeing the photo and apologized that Aurora and Laurel weren't there to be her mom and sister. Superti felt a weird, familiar feeling hearing Lady Aurora. He told her Aurora and Laurel drowned at sea during a vacation 7 years ago, and Laurel was only 2. She suddenly heard a familiar voice soft as cotton candy calling Lou, which reminded her of something mysterious. The Admiral added everyone on board died and no trace of Aurora and Laurel was ever found. A few years after the accident, Elgin got sick, and in the middle of these repeated tragedies, she appeared. She wondered about the nature of Elgin's illness that makes him cough blood. The Admiral asked if she was worried about Elgin's sickness, and she said yes. He explained Elgin has a rare disease that only affects the awakened. He explained the disease causes a backflow of energy, narrowing the heart and causing blood clots, leading to death within 5 years. She was terrified by the weight of the illness and hurt that she asked for his help without knowing his suffering. He reassured her that adults are looking for a cure and promised he'd protect her so this tragedy doesn't repeat. He asked her to trust him as her father and promised to always protect her. She thanked him for the reassuring words. Suddenly, a new reward appeared, butter of support, which makes whoever eats it want to help the one who gave it. Eupyrus told her he'd keep the butter for her since it melts fast and told her to let him know when she needs it. She wondered about the good job stamp she also needs. Eupyrus showed her a cute grapeboard to collect stamps on. She noticed happily that one stamp was already there. She laughed happily, so the Admiral jokingly said it's time to brush her teeth. She wanted to tell the Admiral about the reward she got, but assumed he knew nothing. She tried to tell him, but her voice only came out like a chick's chirp, so she grumbled about not being able to talk. She realized this stamp board, like the glowing letters, can't be seen by anyone but her, and wanted to share her achievement. She decided she'd do her best for everyone, even if she doesn't get the praise she deserves. Later, Lena told her it was time to get ready, so she jumped excitedly, declaring she was ready. Lena reminded her of the family dinner, explaining it was a chance to meet the rest of the family for the first time. She asked about teacher Cedric, and Lena said he'd be busy for a while. She insisted she wasn't bored. Baking cookies in the kitchen is fun too, and she still needs to get orca sugar for him. Lena asked her to bathe and change, then asked if she still remembered the Basine family tree. She answered excitedly that she memorized it well and started naming her aunts and uncles. Violet the first, Cecilia the second. She finished the count. The third uncle is 9 and the fourth is Admiral Digon. Lena praised her memory. She explained she knows her aunts and the Admiral are the grandpa's biological kids, while her uncle was adopted like her. She remembered her aunts Violet and Cecilia are currently fighting over the Young Lord title. Lena told her she should call her Aunt Violet Young Lord, while calling Cecilia Aunt. The other maids were expressing admiration for Super T's cuteness and her new hairstyle. She felt thrilled because she loves getting praise, and the strawberry cake she ate this morning made it better. Lena suddenly warned her, telling her to look ahead. She bumped into something and fell to the ground. A blonde girl screamed, grumbling that her new clothes were ruined by flour. Superti wondered in pain who she bumped into. The blonde girl was crying hard over her new clothes stained with flour. Superti apologized immediately. The blonde girl's maid scolded her, wondering why she was wandering the halls alone. She was struck by the blonde girl's beauty and height, and wished they could be friends. She tried to clean the flour off the girl's clothes while apologizing again. The maid angrily slapped her hand away, wondering how she dared touch her. Lena grabbed Superti, while the other maid angrily wondered what she was doing. Lena loudly announced this was Miss Supertia, which shocked the other maid. Superti was surprised by Lena's angry reaction. She'd never seen her like that before. Lena quietly reassured her, asking if she was hurt. The other maid mocked Lena for defending a commoner girl. Lena warned her sharply to watch her tongue, threatening she wouldn't tolerate it next time. Superti got the hiccups from fear because of the intense vibe between Lena, the maid, and the Spirit Kings. The blonde girl, Angela, ordered Superti to undo her braids because she wanted to be the only one with that hairstyle. Superti was surprised by the weird request. She felt confused. She apologized twice and tried to help. So why should she undo the hair Lena worked so hard on? The maid ordered her to undo the braids now, claiming Miss Angela would forgive her if she did. The Spirit Kings encouraged her not to give in. The Emotion King insisted if she backed down, they'd back down with her. She refused flatly, insisting Lena and the Admiral did nothing wrong. She announced she was keeping her braids while the Spirit Kings praised and encouraged her. She felt strong because she had Lena and the Spirit Kings on her side and wasn't scared at all. Angela was shocked by her refusal and wondered what she should do. Her maid whispered for her to just ignore her because she's uneducated. Superti realized she had to step in before Lena's anger exploded. She told the maid her teacher is Lord Cedric. She bragged that teacher Cedric told her she's the smartest in Basine, which stunned the maid, who wondered if she was actually taking lessons. Lena proudly confirmed Miss Supertia has private meetings with the head of the family, which Miss Angela can't do. Lena announced Supertia is awakened, while Angela hasn't shown a bigo yet. Supertia wondered if Angela wasn't awakened and apologized because she hadn't seen her in class. Angela cried and left, grumbling about her dirty clothes and how she didn't like her hairstyle anymore. The Spirit Kings mocked her retreat, declaring their child the winner of the battle. Lena suggested going back to change into a prettier dress, promising to pick the best one. Superti was happy with her victory and felt Lena's expression had brightened too. She decided to listen to Lena carefully from now on so she wouldn't upset her again. She was scared of her anger. Lena dressed her in a new blue dress, admiring how beautiful and cute she was. The Admiral came to pick her up, calling her Little Crab. While Lena wished her a good time, she asked if Elgin would attend. He said he's sick and can't attend family gatherings because Other Awaken's energy worsens his illness. She was disappointed she wouldn't see him since she hoped to meet him today. He asked about Macard. He said he's still on his way back and won't be able to attend either. The Admiral called her and she noticed he seemed to be hiding something. She noticed he was hiding his hands behind his back and wondered if he'd give her a special snack.